Kenneth Kerr is a climatologist with the TNT Meteorological Service, and Eric Mackie is the Regional Coordinator, Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management, here to speak about the hurricane season, which started yesterday. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning, DK.
Now, we see climate doing all sorts of things. What can you project for this hurricane season?
Well, for us in Trinidad and Tobago, we are saying that this season is likely to be above average in terms of number of activity, in terms of tropical cyclone forming or developing to the east of Trinidad and Tobago.
And when you say average, what kind of number or figure are we looking at?
Well, in the area of interest for us, which is just south of 15 degrees north latitude and to the east, we normally have about 3 storms per year on average. But the highest we have ever had is in 2010 when we had 10 storms forming in that location. But on average, we have about 3. And this year we are projecting about 3 to 6 with the best case of 4 storms forming in that location. But for us, that is not the important thing. The important thing is that we are in the hurricane season, and therefore we are urging everyone to be prepared to take the necessary measures that are required, because it only takes 1 storm to make it an active season for Trinidad and Tobago and individuals.
And yesterday we actually had AmCham and the U.S. Embassy partnering. They had a talk on resiliency. So I'll bring you in, Mr. Mackie, with regard to Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management. Resiliency, how resilient do you think we are in this space to deal with these kind of things?
Well, a lot of the resiliency has to do with the preparedness of the general population, right? So we try our best to promote preparedness, which will in turn enhance resiliency among the population and so on. We have our website that has everything you need to do to be prepared. It's on our website at odpm.gov.tt, and we encourage everybody to go there and familiarize themselves with the website and what it has to offer.
So stocking up, how do we actually prepare and say, okay, well, we're in the season, these are the things that we need to do? Is there a checklist, a guideline? What do we look at?
Yeah.
Sorry. What I can say is that at the Met Office, we have what we call a National Climate Outlook Forum, which we already held with key stakeholders, including persons from disaster risk management, persons from the energy sector, persons from drainage, persons from water resources, persons from agriculture, persons from the health sector. We have met with all the key stakeholders. We have put to the table what are the likely outcomes for the 2017 wet season and the hurricane season, and what are the likely impacts, and what necessary actions, early actions that persons could take. And that is at the stakeholder level. Now we are trying to get the same information out to the public. And we are saying that there are simple things that you can do. You can have a plan, a simple plan. Have a plan that speaks to how you're going to act if, for example, Trinidad and Tobago is put under tropical storm warning or watch. Just make sure that this plan is one that makes sense, that you could act in a timely fashion. Besides that, we are asking you to share the information that we are providing with key stakeholders. 1, pay attention to the Met Office, because we provide the most reliable and up-to-date and current information. So visit our website at metoffice.gov.tt. 2, we ask you to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, as well as download our app from the Play Store. We have a Met Office app that could give you information right in the palm of your hand for your mobile phones. And besides that, there are simple other things. Persons who live in vulnerable areas, we are asking you to ensure that you clean your surroundings. Make sure that your drainage are cleaned so that the water could run freely. We are asking those from the health sectors and from the drainage sectors to fumigate areas that are known to have mosquitoes prone when the rain starts to really fall. And those in the agriculture sector as well, we are asking them to do the things that are necessary, such as using mulching and other activities that can enhance their product and so forth. And at the individual level, we are saying, for example, areas that are like prone to landslides, for example, Matlock, Paria, those areas that already experienced last year's event may still be unstable, so that we are asking persons to be very vigilant and to pay attention, because with a small amount of rainfall, you could have unstable areas becoming very, very much in a situation where you could have another landslide or land slippage.
Now, you speak to places like Matlot and land slippage. Are there other examples you can give us of what you define as vulnerable areas, Mr. Mackie?
North Coast Road, particularly. That when we get a lot of rainfall up there, we have a lot of problems with land slippage up there. That blocks the road. And sometimes they're coming back onto the Blanchisseuse side. You can have, and we have had in the past, where both sides are blocked. You know, so you need to be aware of that. Residents up there need to pay attention when it starts to rain heavily and so on, to look out for the landslides happening in those areas. But there are other areas around the country as well, but they are not as well known. But there's a place down in the Princestown area where the soil is all there is. There's very little to bind it together. And as soon as the rain starts to fall, that land is just moving all over the place.
You spoke about the app, and I think that's very interesting. I think it's very timely. What platforms can it be used on?
On most of the platforms, we know that it is available in Google Play as well as the Apple iStore. So most of the platforms it is available on.
So when you download that app, what do you use it for? What kind of information will you get
Everything that is on our website is there. We have the public weather forecast, we have the current weather information, we have the radar images, we have satellite images, we have the 10-day weather outlook for the agricultural sector, we have the seasonal outlook for all the sectors. So all the information that is available on our website, most of it is there in a package in a way that you can use it immediately for decision making.
Do you have anything? No, you
yes.
want to say something?
Well, ODPM also has an app which has everything you need for disasters and emergencies and so on. It will carry latest information. We are also on Facebook and Twitter and everything. All of the social media we're very active in, so that it's not just a case of listening to the radio or looking at television to get the information. We make it available to the public in the widest possible format so that we try and hit as large an area as possible.
DK, I just want to add that when we issued our outlook for the wet season, because we are issuing for two seasons, the hurricane season and the wet season. The wet season, we indicated that it's a season when we believe that every drop of rainfall will count. And the reason for that is because we said that we expect less than usual amounts of rainfall during the wet season. But added to that, notwithstanding that, we expect that the potential for flooding remains very high, as it did last year, as it did the year before, and we know from our experience what that means. So that we are asking persons to pay attention to the Met Office website and our latest information to ensure that we can adequately prepare.
So I'm asking you all to speak to preparedness and the fact that actions that we take today will affect tomorrow, because we still see people are complaining about people lighting fires in the hills, how that affects the water tables, what we throw into our drains, how that affects. What would you all say to somebody on those topics?
Well, we try and educate. Again, it's all education, you know, trying to get the people to understand that throwing stuff in the water course is not a good thing to do. And then lighting fires in the hills is detrimental to everybody's health and well-being. You know, so we try our best to get that point across.
And I'll also ask about what are some of the things, because you say every drop counts. What can we do in terms of looking at the climate? Because many times we say we don't necessarily think about the wet season as opposed to, let's say, hurricane season. How do we make that distinction? How do we look at them differently?
Well, we look at them differently because in Trinidad and Tobago, for example, whilst we are in the hurricane season within the wet season, we are more impactful by rainy weather that are severe, not associated with hurricanes. That's where most of our impact comes from, and that is where the flooding comes into play, and therefore that is where we are most vulnerable, and we are asking persons to ensure that desilting of channels, desilting of canals, to ensure that we could protect ourselves from flooding. Be sandbag ready. It may be a new term for us, but we can prepare by having sandbags in a way that we can easily put them, that they can block out some of the water coming into our residence area and that kind of thing. So for us, the rainy season is more than just the hurricane season. It's the season that is most impactful for us, when we tend to have a lot of information being provided by the Met Office, but sometimes not being acted on. And we are asking persons to be very vigilant this year, because we believe that this year is going to be similar to last year, where we're going to have a lot of activity.
Quickly, Mr. Mackie, you want to say something?
The ODPM recommends that all the burgesses get in touch with the municipal corporation, because the municipal corporations have the sandbags. We supply the corporations with the sandbags, and the sandbags are distributed from that point. So everybody can get sandbags to protect themselves.
Eric Mackie, Kenneth Kerr, thank you very much. We hope to continue conversations with you so that people can be prepared for this season, the two seasons, hurricane season, wet season. Thank you very much.